Take him out of the
State field now. This one high in the air. This one's a no-doubter. Jared Jones off the middle of the scoreboard. That one 102 miles an hour off the bat. Back-to-back they go with 2 outs. And the Tigers now lead 5-1.
Couldn't get the words out quick enough. I wanted Jared Jones to make sure, as we talked about all day, let the ball travel. He's strong enough to get the ball out to all parts of the field. When you get out in front, sometimes that's when you can create problems. But he let that ball get deep, and he launched it up to left field. That ball was as high as it was far, and that was, as you said, Doug, a no-doubter off the scoreboard.
And we say good morning to you on a Tuesday morning. As always, February the 18th. Hope everybody doing well. Another edition of Tigers Roar. Look, we've been with a crazy schedule, and I had a little eye surgery. Shout out to Dr. Michael Hike over at EMC, getting me to see better. Guys still tell me I look better with the sunglasses on, but I want to thank him from the get-go. A lot of fluid illness going around, so we are making up for shows. We'll recap the Super Bowl with a little clip of that. Obviously, LSU baseball undefeated. By the way, they're playing at 2 o'clock this afternoon against Southern, who beat LSU last year. And then the Lady Tigers, once again, suffering their second loss of the year at Texas. We'll recap that. Jay Johnson and the boys undefeated. Beth Torina. We talked about this a couple of shows ago. The freshman male phenom, Kaylin Sheo with the gymnastics, and Jaden Heavener. This is the only and best lefty that Beth Torina has ever come in there. They are out of the gate 10-0 and unblemished. And gymnastics, not to give any slight to any of those great programs out at LSU, 198.050, taking down Oklahoma. They dropped the spot in the rankings this week because they're still counting a low road score. But don't worry, they are back in the thick of it. A great crowd. And, of course, as always, don't forget about the men. They do host South Carolina tonight at 8 o'clock on the Tube. Stole one last time out at Oklahoma. Cam Carter, 7 points in the last minute. They come back from a big deficit. So once again tonight, February 18th, you see a picture of Damian Collins. He has been fantastic around the rim. In case you have not heard the news, Trey'Dez Green, and we kind of talked about this, and everybody thought this was going to happen. No longer playing basketball right now. He's going to concentrate on academics and get back to football. Spring football starts a couple of weeks from Saturday on March the 8th. Couldn't do it without our great buddy. He is the straw that serves the drink over here. Shout out to cameraman Marty, who's been working his tail off, and the guy who is our producer and editor and the proud dad of a heck of a high school football player who wrapped up his career. We give you Jonathan Poche on a Tuesday afternoon. Good to see you, JP, and it's been way too long since we've been on.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, Bud, man. Great to be here back with you, and I certainly appreciate all of you tuning in out there in TV land. Of course, you can also check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Marty and I both battled the flu last week, so happy to be back in the saddle here on Tigers Roar. Of course, we'll start right there with the Super Bowl, Bud, man. Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. Did a great job. The city did of hosting Super Bowls. Of course, everybody on social media tried to say that this has to be one of those 5 rotational sites to host the Super Bowl. Just too convenient to the quarter, to the airport, the hotels, great food, great drink, the whole deal. And, of course, shout out to Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles taking down the Kansas City Chiefs, who are going for history. There would be no three-peat down in the Big Easy. What a character arc for the MVP, Jalen Hurts. Of course, great touchdown pass right in the beginning of the second half to a kid from Amite, Louisiana, and Devontae Smith, and which is a fantastic character arc, Bud, man. Of course, we look back to the SEC Championship, which Jalen Hurts is replaced by Tua Tagovailoa. Tua throws the game-winning touchdown to Devontae Smith against Georgia, and everybody kind of thought that Jalen Hurts was passed over. Of course, he goes to OKC, Oklahoma, and was a finalist for the Heisman. Of course, he lost in 2019 to a quarterback named Joe Burrow. but had a lot of success at both Alabama and Oklahoma. Goes to the pros and wins an MVP of the Super Bowl. So congratulations to Jalen Hurts. Here are some plays from the Super Bowl. Just some highlights, Bud, man. Just a few of my favorite plays from the game. Of course, Cooper DeJean makes history as the first Super Bowl player to get a touchdown on his birthday with this pick six. So he makes history. Happy for Cooper DeJean. Of course, here's that play-action pass, a touchdown to Devontae Smith in that second half. It's really put the game out of reach. Of course, they're already up by 27. Didn't have the chance to show you Zach Bond's interception, but here's a long touchdown pass to Worthy in garbage time. So really happy for the Eagles. Happy that the Super Bowl went off without a hitch. Tired of even hearing about the halftime performance, but man, don't know if you had any thoughts on that, but I'm tired of talking about it at this point. Kendrick Lamar was a halftime performance, but the Chiefs couldn't get it done. Eagles win, and football season officially comes to an end. We move on to LSU baseball season. Of course, you mentioned undefeated on the weekend, taking care of Purdue Fort Wayne. It was tough, but man, it was a new season, new first couple games of the year, but there's so many new arms. It's hard to know, but who's a transfer, who's a true freshman, because these true freshmen have powerful stuff out of the bullpen. Of course, 9 relievers had a show for this weekend and gave up 0 runs. LSU only gives up 2 on the weekend, so a great start for Coach Jay Johnson. Of course, we'll talk about men's and women's basketball a little bit later on in this episode of Tigers Roar. But happy to be back. Happy to be with you, Bud, man, here on Pelican Sports TV.
Yeah, wrapping up football season to me, I think both of the best teams in college and pro won. Look, Ohio State hit bottom when they lost to Michigan. There was a lot of pressure on Ryan Day and his staff. They got it done. I thought they played consistently the best at the back end of the year, deserved to win the Natty. And, of course, as we know, Philadelphia, they had to push all year long, dominated. And what I like to tell you LSU fans is that this was old school football. And one of the things that we're going to be watching closely when they get back out to spring football in a couple, 3 weeks here is developing that nasty defense. Philadelphia won the line of scrimmage so dominantly in the first half. Patrick Mahomes looked like a rookie. He didn't look like a 2-time defending champion. They dominated.
Yep.
And if LSU can get that kind of play on their defensive line, you impact the game. Now, the big difference with Philadelphia and LSU is that Philly doesn't have to blitz. They did it without blitzing.
Yep.
I think Blake Baker's going to have to draw up some blitzes, but I do think LSU will be appreciably deeper, faster, bigger, stronger, and more physical. All 3 weeks, brothers. Harold Perkins back, edge rushers galore, got better secondaries. Don't sleep on Monsieur Delane. He is going to be a fantastic corner. DJ Pickett, all those guys coming in here. So it's kind of nice to see a defense still dictate the tempo of the Super Bowl. But, yeah, football's in the mix, and I echo your sentiments. So all I can say about the halftime show was that I thought that they should have had something more that exemplified the city of New Orleans with their great history of music. I know they had some of that with Harry Connick Jr. before and all that, but that is one that if you gave me $1 for every minute I watched it, I couldn't even go to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal this afternoon.
Yeah, and man, you make up a great point. The defensive line for the Eagles, I mean, they blitzed 0 times, had 6 sacks in the game, as most Patrick Mahomes is sacked in the game, especially a Super Bowl, and they did it with the front 4. It was almost an advertisement for the SEC. I mean, 3 guys from Georgia and then Montez Sweat, Ole Miss. I mean, you talk about Jordan Davis and Cam. I'm forgetting his name now. Jalen Carter, excuse me. And then Smith on the outside. 0 blitz, able to play that shell cover 4 to the corners, and really sticky coverage in the zone. And, yeah, Cooper DeJean gets an interception. Zach Bond gets an interception. Six sacks on Patrick Mahomes. So you did it with the front 4, and everybody always talks about, that's how you want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. It's really tough to do. I thought Chauncey Gardner-Johnson got into Travis Kelce's head really early with that. I'm not going to call it a late hit, but that hit at the whistle. Travis Kelce had to drop early and never really got into a rhythm. But all the credit goes to the Philadelphia Eagles, that coaching staff, that front office. I mean, they're able to pay their star players, and talk about Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, and you bring in Saquon Barkley, who had a fantastic year. Howie Roseman really deserves a lot of credit, the GM for the Philadelphia Eagles. That really is a blueprint. If you can have success in the draft and pay your players, don't give up on your draft picks. Like the Saints have been guilty of doing. You mean, talk about Zach Bond. This is a guy who barely scratched the field for the New Orleans Saints. He was a finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year. He was an All-Pro. The credit goes to the Eagles. There was the better team on Super Bowl Sunday. I thought the city did a great job, Bud, man, putting a positive light. No really incidents to talk about. Everybody was pretty much safe and clean. They did a great job keeping the quarter clean for everybody who was visiting. Started early in the morning, obviously, with the cleanups after each night. So proud of the city, the job that they did. Of course, there was no blackouts in the dome. So it's, if you want my opinion on the halftime show, I mean, I know I wouldn't talk about it.
No. We got to move on. Let's go. We got to move on. Enough
it.
on the football and the Saints and the halftime show. We gave enough to Kendrick Lamar.
Yep.
We got to make up a break. Quick timeout. We come back here on a Tuesday morning edition. Buddy Sanji, Jonathan Poche here at Tigers Roar. Back right after this.
Anchored by the performance and reliability of the Civic and Accord, Honda has once again been named the best car brand for the 4th year running by U.S. News & World Report. Come see the lineup of award-winning Hondas at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Seacon Lane.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
And we welcome you back once again, Jay Johnson, in year 4 with LSU baseball. JP, there is no doubt we have seen all the years with, of course, all of the championships. LSU with 7 natties, that's second of all time. And folks, if you've made your trip plans to Omaha, I don't blame you, but there's still plenty of work just opening up the season. And, JP, I think it's obvious. You got 6 or 7 outfielders. You got position players for days.
Yep.
All these pitchers, 4 catchers. It's unbelievable. I would not hesitate to say this is his best 40-man roster that he's ever had. 4 incredible freshman pitchers. To get a guy like William Schmidt from Cavalier, Case and all the other guys coming in, I mean, I just don't see any weaknesses. Now, granted, they open up with some non-conference teams that they're going to dominate, but and the league will be tough. But, boy, I tell you, it's hard to see a weakness early on, although, you still want to clean up base running and throwing people out. But, very impressive for both baseball and softball. Both teams undefeated at this point.
Yeah, but man, hit the nail on the head. A lot of power arms out that bullpen. 9 different relievers had show action this weekend. Gave up 0 runs. Starting by Cade Anderson, starting pitcher. Then you got Anthony Ianson, and that kid looks like he's the real deal. And Chase Shores. I mean, the starting pitcher was phenomenal all weekend for LSU. And, of course, you know about the relievers. The freshman power arms, you mentioned William Smith. That guy's throwing mid-90s already as a true freshman. It's a wonder that guy didn't go to the minors somewhere. But that is the power of the GM, Jay Johnson. He's done a fantastic job not only signing guys out of the portal, but really recruiting these high school players. Does a fantastic job filling out the roster, Bud, man. Yeah, the outfield stacked with talent. New center fielder in Stanfield, the transfer guy, really showed it really early on Friday with the triple and a really nice play in center field. So exciting to watch this year. Going to have a good non-conference schedule leading up to that SEC play. And Coach Jay Johnson, you mentioned this might be his most talented 40-man roster, loaded with young talent and mixing in with guys that are filling out like Jake Brown, Ashton Larson. Stephen Milam goes from second to short and really doesn't miss a beat. Daniel Dickinson, who blasted the first LSU home run this year, looks like he's going to be a problem all season at the plate for opposing pitchers.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Of course, as we know, Bear Jones did come back. He's at first base. Daniel Dickinson hit the first home run of the year. He's at second. Milam playing shortstop this year. Didn't have a great weekend at the plate. You know he will be good. Braswell at third. And then Josh Pearson and Stanfield in center field. Derek Carriero at someplace. Ashton Larson.
Yep.
All those catchers. And we don't know if these weekend guys are going to stick. But, of course, Cade Anderson was fantastic on Friday night. Anthony Ianson and Chase Stores. But Maverick Rizzi, how about these guys? Shores is 6'8".
Yep.
Rizzi's 6'9", and both of these guys are not drinking waters. They're 250, 253, or whatever. And so, but I just don't know if I've ever seen him have the quality of talent that he's had. Some of these 40-man rosters before, 28, 29 stellars, and then you fill in with role players. JP, I think the biggest problem he's going to have is keeping everybody healthy, keeping everybody happy, and making the right choices with pitching. And, of course, Nate Yeske coming back for year 2 always makes it a big advantage. But, man, they are loaded. But guess what? A&M's loaded. Tennessee's loaded. Everybody's loaded. And here we go, leading off the highlights for the 2025 baseball team with Stanfield getting in there and getting a triple right out of the gate, JP.
Yep, showed the wheels with the triple. Of course, also beat out an infield single later in the weekend. So starting off just how you want, the new ballpark for Stanfield, new uniform, showing his team exactly what he brings to the park. Thought the center fielder had a beat on that ball, but just couldn't get to it. You see the replay right here. Great swing, hit it to the alley. Center fielder did run it down, but the speed from Stanfield didn't matter if he stumbled around second base. Great job getting that triple and starting off this LSU offense on the right foot.
Of course, as we know, Stanfield came over from Auburn, and here we go, Cade Anderson. He had a game last year against Southeastern, struck out the first 7. He's smooth. He throws strikes. He is draft eligible as a sophomore, and I think he's going to stay in the weekend lineup. Not sure if it'll be Friday night, but really is executing well with all those 4 pitches right now.
He did 8 strikeouts for Anderson in 5 innings. Of course, here's a long ball from Dickinson. This is the first home run for LSU on the season. Dickinson played a lot of second base this weekend. Looked pretty good. Turnstile play you'll see later on. Jared Jones was on the bases, so a couple RBIs here for Dickinson. Great way to start off his LSU debut against Purdue Fort Wayne.
At first homer on the season, going right over that man-defined mate sign. Don't forget, we are the official smoked sausage of LSU Athletics. You can get those out at the box this afternoon and all through the weekend. And now we have another bomb, and we know that they hit 3 in that one inning, huh?
Yeah,
there was Jared Jones off the scoreboard.
Right, no, that was a replay of Dickinson. Yeah, we'll see
okay.
Curiel.
Replay of Dickinson.
Yeah, and this is Ianson. Had a great start. Really controlled his off-speed pitches well, located with the secondary stuff, and also has a very dominant fastball. So big for Coach Jay Johnson, who you'll hear from later on in this program, in this segment actually. Talk about the recruitment process for Ianson and how he knew he had to get that guy over to campus in the purple and gold, and happy to have number 24.
Ashton Larson, or was this Curiel?
This is Curiel.
This is Curiel's first home run of the year, and Jared Jones is going to follow back, and of course that might have been Ashton Larson. I mean, they hit 4 on the weekend, and lo and behold, LSU hit 114 last year. How many will they hit this year, JP? Nobody knows, but I think there's 6, 7 guys that are going to go yard for him this year.
Yeah, and this is Curiel, a very young guy with lots of talent, great bat speed, has really good hands, Bud. You see in this replay, got in front of that ball and absolutely it was a wall scraper, but that ball got out in an absolute hurry. It was a line drive that made it over the wall, and you mentioned it, Jared Jones is up next, and they go back-to-back with an absolute moonshot. We saw it in the intro. Jared Jones gets all of this baseball, hit it as high as he hit it far. This ball actually bounced off almost the middle of the scoreboard. So as absolute moonshot, Jared Jones flexing off the muscles right here and getting all of that baseball.
You know, I would be shocked if I was an opposing team to throw him anything but curveballs and slow stuff and junk. But he hit 28 last year. I think his key this year, being patient, once again, learning to hit the curveball more consistently. But that's a heck of a punch. And, of course, as we know, now we get into the big guy, Chase Shore's the final weekend starter.
Yeah, Chase Shore's working back from Tommy John surgery. He was going to have a pitch count, but did a really good job around the 5th inning of this ball game of getting guys out in a hurry. So a couple strikeouts here from Chase Shore. Of course, here's another nice defensive play. Milam Dickinson over to Bear Jones for the 6-4-3 twin killing. A pitcher's best friend, Bud, man, like I mentioned, especially when you're on a pitch count like Shore's was.
All right, LSU playing a couple midweek games. Once again, Southern this afternoon at 2, and then tomorrow at Nichols. Gavin Guidry did not pitch in the first weekend. JP, they're trying to determine if he's going to be a starter or a reliever. Zach Cowan and other guys, they just have so many options. And what do you think will end up Guidry's involvement of his role this year? What do you see him?
It's really tough to say he's going to be like the closer, but man, so many power arms, especially with these young guys. So you kind of limit to getting 3 outs and let them really focus on 1 inning of work. I think he's going to be a 7th inning, 8th inning setup guy. Lots of experience to obviously come out that bullpen. There's been a lot of situations for LSU's, but we'll see. I mean, there's just so many power arms that you want to get these young guys, on the mound, get them some experience, and really the easiest way to do that is in relief. So what roles will fill out? We'll get closer to SEC ball and figure that out. This kid, Newt, Schmidt, you go down the list. Lots of power arms for the young guys, so you really want to get those roles solidified here moving down the season. But look, it's the first series of the year. You have to be encouraged about all the talent that LSU has, especially in that bullpen.
Drake Brown, of course, played some right field. Of course, as we said, they are going to alternate 6 or 7 outfielders, alternate the DH. Josh Pearson, if he's not in the lineup, he'll DH from the left side. Once again, a lot of catching depth. And, JP, look, a lot of times you don't learn about your team until you face a little adversity. And I predicted a couple weeks ago on the radio show this team could start 14-15-0. They're that good, but we know you got to get to Omaha if you're an LSU baseball fan, and I think that these games will be not non-competitive, but blowouts. You start to establish roles, and then you get into that SEC season, and man, oh man, Texas A&M preseason #1 with a new coach. Tennessee and Tony Vitello, can they defend? Arkansas, Wednesday, Van Horn going to win one. Hope it's not this year. And then Jay Johnson, can you believe the SEC coaches picked LSU 4th in the SEC, and all of the national polls have them 2nd or 3rd. So he's got a little bit of motivation to prove these coaches wrong. But Paul Maneri at Carolina, all the great other programs, Florida, Vanderbilt, look, it's going to be a great year. I've got them going 20-10 and making it to Omaha, JP. I know it's early, but I'm seeing a lot of depth that maybe he didn't have before.
Yeah, especially on the mound, Bud, man, I agree. And, the young guys that got to play last year out of necessity, a Jake Brown and Ashton Larson and Steve Milam, all that does is make them better moving forward, better this season. Going to be 3 leaders in the clubhouse and on the field. Guys have really filled out. You see Michael Braswell continue his career, shifting over to third base. So, look, there's a lot of experience for LSU mixed in with a lot of young talent. And those arms, bud, man. The pitching is going to be very special this year. Nate Yeske, the pitching coach, really has a lot to work with, really focusing on getting that first guy out of the inning, starting with strikes, starting with outs, and keeping those base passes pretty clean. So, yeah, I agree. Going to win at least 20 games. Look, and we'll see about these midweek games. In the past, you don't give a lot of focus, but there's so much pitching, bud, man. There's so much pitching that I think they'll be ready to compete. Even when the bats don't come in those midweek games, you're trying to work out a lineup, trying to get some guys some swings. The pitching is going to carry. The pitching is going to travel. So LSU, Coach Jay Johnson, a lot to look forward to. And, yeah, I agree. Omaha Steaks in person this year for LSU baseball.
Well, it's always a lot of fun to see how these pieces to the puzzle get put together. We love it in football. And, look, they've been working hard. And I think that Jay said right around media day, this is probably as comfortable as they have been. They do have to establish roles. Gavin Guidry, I know, wants to be a starter. I like him in the closing role, JP. And, look, they've got so many guys that are throwing 95 and above.
Right.
That I think it's great that you got Yeske back, and obviously Johnson's going to lead them to have great offense. That's why Stanfield came over from here, Auburn. That's why Braswell is over here at third base. And lo and behold, folks, this is going to be a fun team to watch. We're trying to get the starting pitcher today, so hosting Southern today at 2, at Nichols tomorrow, and then Omaha comes in for the weekend. And JP, anybody that you want to single out on a sleeper? Who right now, man, look, Daniel Dickerson is on fire.
Yep.
It looks like they're going to interchange all of the outfielders and the catchers, and probably more pitching depth. But I'm a guy that still has that T-shirt. Chicks dig the long ball, so I'm hoping that they hit over 100+ home runs again. And I think the big thing that we saw, even though it was certainly not much competition against Purdue Fort Wayne, throwing strikes, only 2 walks the whole weekend. And really, when you talk about these 4 freshmen that have come in, a couple good lefties, it's going to be fun to watch to see how these roles develop with the pitchers. But right now, it wouldn't shock me in a couple of weeks if we're talking about a 13, 14, 15-0 LSU baseball team.
Yeah, bud, man, and Stanfield's going to be fun to watch. You can do it on both sides, on defense and at the plate. But a young guy that I think is going to be really special for LSU, Derek Curiel. This guy showed the hand speed, hit a ball out this weekend. He can run. He's a 5-tool player. Yeah, but man, he's going to be exciting to watch. Another guy that's going to be one of those freshman phenom for LSU, I believe. And I like Curiel, I like Stanfield. But I think Bear Jones is going to hit like 26 home runs this year, bud, man, with the power. You can't pitch to him. You got to pitch around him. But you have Dickinson right there to protect him. You got to hit the long ball. So, yeah, lots of guys with experience mixed with a lot of young talent, bud, man. But, yeah, Derek Curiel caught my attention big time this year. Looking forward to see that young man develop. And I want to let you guys hear from head coach Jay Johnson. Here he is after Game 2 win this weekend over Purdue Fort Wayne. LSU got the 10-1 victory. Here is Coach Jay Johnson talking about his team and their goals for this season and what he sees so far from the LSU Tiger baseball team.
We just needed to kind of get recommitted to our plan. We scored in 8 of the first 9 innings of the season, and the game is not easy. And the kid did a good job. He made some pitches, and, we were pretty close to busting it open there in the second and, hit into a double play. And then I don't know if we pressed a little bit. We just got a little bit outside ourselves. And it's a lot of new, and even for the returners, we haven't played a game against somebody else until yesterday since, the NCAA tournament last year. So it's something I do all the time, to be honest with you. I kind of liken it to, if the defense is blitzing all the time and the quarterback's getting destroyed, the offensive coordinator's not going to make sure they do something to add protection. It's part of coaching. I don't think it was anything revolutionary.
Talk about Anthony's just demeanor. He kind of talked about just wanting to get after it, be attacking, but also seemed really calm and
Yeah, he's awesome. I think you obviously saw the pitchability. He ran the fastball, I think, up to 95 today. The off-speed stuff's legit in terms of how he locates it, can mix. The pitchability's great, but his poise, composure, he's very put together is what I would say. And so you kind of know what you're going to get. And with this age players, no matter how talented they are, you don't always have certainty. I'm pretty confident he's going to throw strikes, he's going to mix, and he's going to compete in key situations. And that's what I thought he did today. He pitched with good composure with runners on base.
You mentioned pitchability a bunch yesterday, and you just mentioned it now. How would you define that?
Just the ability to throw all your pitches for strikes. Strikes, low strikes, move the ball in and out, up and down, change speeds. And just like, it's not just like, hey, what does the radar gun or the TrackMan say? It's like it's actually usable in the game to help get hitters out.
Coach, Daniel Dickinson looks like he's seeing the ball really well. What have you seen from him? Kind of talk about him.
Yeah, I think he's a very good player. He how he plays is I think the separator, and I think we've seen that here the past couple of days. We definitely saw it over the past 10 days, in scrimmages. His last 5 scrimmages were really good. Or actually 4. He played in 4 of the 5. Were really, really good. And he's a gamer and competitive, and I'm really glad he's here.
So the steals and the small ball, for the most part, didn't look like it was there today, but you had the power. So how did today kind of
Well, the wind was blowing, so it kind of changes your approach. We talked about a few of them, like we shouldn't have been thrown out either time that we ran, honestly, with the quality of runner. But I think there was good learning opportunities for us, so that was good. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned about our ability to win in any kind of way, whether it's, like I said, speed, power, solid hitting skills, plate discipline. I think we walked 7 times again today. Took advantage of the hit-by pitches, and a lot of times college baseball games are lost. They're not won. And so it's like those free bases are like turnovers in football, and you want to convert, and with the exception of the second inning, we did that.
And then Anthony, from what I understand, visited Texas and Tennessee the same week he visited y'all. Why do you think you ended up winning his recruitment?
It was a long week. It was a long week because we were first. I think being a West Coast guy, played at Lakewood, in Long Beach, just having familiarity with him and that area, connected to people he's connected to, in baseball circles, that once he went in the portal, it was a pretty normal recruitment, but it kind of became the one of the summer. Like, I'm not making these comparisons, but when Tommy White went in the portal, when Paul Skeens went in the portal, when Luke Holman went in the portal, like, it occupied every day of my time, and they were all worth it, and Anthony's worth it. It just was kind of like that, like, it's the one you got to land, it's the one you got to land, and we did, and I'm very thankful for him being here.
He is tough to beat when you look at everything he brings to the table with LSU Athletics. Jay Johnson setting his team up to be super good this year and year 4. Hosting Southern today at 2 o'clock on the SEC Network, plus at Nichols, Didier Field tomorrow night, 6:30, and the game is going to start in the lower 40s and get into the 30s. We'll see how they handle the early elements of the cold weather. Quick timeout, make up a break. Back with more, talking Kim Mulkey and a little LSU women's basketball and more on a Tuesday morning edition of Buddy Sports Talk. Today, 1 to 3 on the radio right now. Taping TV with JP right here on Tigers Roar. Back with this, more on Pelican Sports TV.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremontis.com.
Few things in life are as valuable as family and peace of mind, especially when it comes to your final arrangements, and that's where Lee Serio can help. His prepaid funeral plans make sure your life will be remembered exactly the way you want it to. With Lee Serio, no detail is too large or too small. Call Lee or his wife Gretchen at 225-315-6329. Let Lee Serio give you and your family the peace of mind you all deserve.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
From the sportiness of the Mazda MX-5 to the engaging ride of the Mazda CX-5 to the luxury of the Mazda CX-90. Move and be moved in your new Mazda while saving thousands at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
And we welcome you back on Tigers Roar. Go by and see my friend Devin Holly over at Treads & Care in Central. He will take care of you. JP, before we move on to Coach Mulkey and the women's basketball team, Kellen Moore officially named the Saints coach, 36 years old. They've got some problems with all the dead money. They've got some guys that they've got to figure out what they're going to do with, whether it's Kamara, whether it's Derek Carr, whatever. Not a great deck of cards that he's been handed. But your gut feeling of what you want to see him try to do in year one?
Well, Bud, man, I think he's young enough to not know what he doesn't know. I think he's excited for this opportunity to prove he's a head coach in this league. Had success as an OC in all of the stops he's made so far. Innovative mind. Really, and truly for the Philadelphia Eagles, he changed his MO. He was a pass-first guy in his last couple stops, but when he got to the Eagles, he understood that Saquon Barkley had to be the straw that stirred the drink, and that's what he did. He changed up his play calling, and it was very successful. So hopefully he can mold this offense to fit what the Saints do have in the cupboard. He said in his press conference he's excited about Derek Carr and believes Derek Carr is a very good starter in this league. Don't know if that was coach speak or if he truly believes it. Hopefully he does believe it. And is able to give Derek Carr that confidence as well. You have to remember, the Saints dealt with all kinds of injuries last year, especially on the offensive side of the ball, starting with your top three receivers, your quarterback, your running back. Every single offensive lineman at least missed some part of last season. So get your guys healthy, get them to buy in. Hopefully you can fill out his staff sooner rather than later so that Saints, not only the players, but the fans can kind of expect or know what to expect next season. But from what I'm seeing, from what I'm hearing, most Saints fans live in reality. They understand this is going to be a rebuilding process, not going to have immediate overturned success, especially with an aging roster and a lot of dead money situations. So got to be patient if you're a Saints fan. Kellen Moore, at my age, 36 years old, makes me feel like quite the failure in life. This guy's a head coach of a pro football organization, but remember him in college. He was good at Boise State, beat the pants off Derek Carr when they played, I think, in 2009. 56-7, I believe, was a score. So, yeah, excited for the Saints. Turn the page, get a fresh new face, a fresh outlook for the organization. Still waiting to hear that news that Mickey Loomis will be relieved of duty. That's another story for another day, Bud, man. But Kellen Moore will be the youngest head coach in the NFL, and age is not always a guarantee of innovation, but hopefully in this case it will be.
Yeah, and, of course, it doesn't really matter who he names as his offensive coordinator because he's going to call the plays. And as JP so eloquently said, Mickey Loomis has got them in a real jam with $54 million in dead money or whatever it is. They are having some serious cap issues. So we move on to something more positive. Kim Mulkey and the Lady Tigers. Look, everybody thought it was going to be a tough game in Austin. Texas had been playing really well. They stopped the home streak at Carolina, then went on the road and won big double digits at Kentucky. They couldn't shoot it in the ocean in the first half. LSU was up 9 or 10, and then they gave up some baskets late right before half, and then all of a sudden, second half, Texas came out, pressed, got it down to 0, tied it up, had a 1-point lead, went back and forth, and then Texas too dominant. For the most part, though, Coach Mulkey and the Lady Tigers sitting at number 7. Texas is number 2. And Carolina got just blown out by 30+. So not only did they lose their FCC streak, but they also lost their home streak. With this butt kicking by UConn and Gino Auriemma. So looking like there's a lot of parity. But JP, I think the big question for the women's team, who's going to take over that point guard starting spot and deliver the rock? You've got the 3 scorers, whether it be Flau'jae or Anissa Morrow or Michaela Williams. You got to have somebody to play a little defense. And once again, turnovers killing both the men's and women's teams. But 19 turnovers against Texas. Got to handle the rock a little bit better than that, JP.
Yeah, but, man, I actually think he got up to 12 right before halftime was the lead for LSU. And, of course, free throws killed them. Free throws were not good enough for LSU. They call them free because you don't have a hand in your face. So what's to knock them down? You mentioned it. You have the 3 reliant scorers, in Flau'jae and Anissa Morrow and Michaela Williams. Anissa Morrow, I don't think she gets enough credit. She does a fantastic job. She battles. This is an undersized power forward that goes down there, gets a double-double every game. The rebounds on both sides of the floor. Yeah, you mentioned it. Just got to find that reliable point guard that knows how to get in and out of offenses. I thought the defense was pretty good for LSU, especially in the first half. Yeah, Texas did miss some shots, but I think you have to give some credit to LSU. Flau'jae didn't look like herself against Texas. I do believe Texas is the second-best team in the SEC. And I thought South Carolina was going to handle business, hold serve throughout the rest of the season. Of course, they get beat bad. So you mentioned the parity. I believe this is in a Sweet 16 team, definitely. If they can mess around and catch on fire, they can possibly get an Elite 8 bid for March Madness. But Coach Kim Mulkey, she knows what she has. You'll hear from her in a little bit, but she said she should have rotated her perimeter players a little bit more in the first couple quarters of that game, so they had some legs under them later on in the ball game to shoot the basketball and get to the lane. It just wasn't happening for LSU basketball. It kind of went cold, especially in that fourth quarter. And like I said, the free throws just absolutely killed them, Bud, man. Texas made theirs, and LSU just couldn't make theirs. So, yeah, move on. Just one game. LSU going to be against Georgia on Thursday, so not a lot of time to feel sorry for yourself. I think 4 or 5 games left for the SEC tournament. So Coach Kim Mulkey, this isn't the time to rest on your morals. Got to be tough. Got to play transition. Got to be tough inside. And you got to give credit to Texas. They handle business and come from behind win at home. And they really gave it to LSU this past weekend.
Cheyenne Day Wilson has been starting at point, but has not been consistent. She didn't have any points last time out, and had a couple turnovers, and obviously a little defensive liability. Poa came in and played her best, but then in the second half, she didn't have it. Jada Richard played the game before, 5 minutes, 5 points in a 3-ball and a basket. Kim Mulkey didn't even play her against Texas. If she did, it was only for a minute or so. So hoping that the freshman can get some PT. And, of course, Miracle Shepherd, Caitlin Gilbert, KG, the bench players got to get more from Jersey and Aaliyah Del Rosario. Samaya Smith is playing but better. Everybody thought that Texas would dominate on the boards and with their bigs. And bottom line is that we know that LSU played tough, but you can't turn it over. How about Texas? Didn't miss a free throw in this game, JP.
Yep. And that was the difference, bud, man.
All right, here we go. Let's let you hear from Coach Kim Mulkey as she talks and answers questions after the tough loss to Texas this past Sunday in Austin.
I haven't seen all the Moody Center. I'd like someday to go up there and look around, but from what I saw on the floor at practice and what I saw during the game today, it looks like a venue that's multi-purpose, not just a basketball arena. So it looks like they have a lot of things that can take place in here, and I think that's the new thing athletic directors are doing. They are getting cities involved and I don't know how many times they get to use this venue for basketball, but it's beautiful as far as, you know, just being a brand new facility. What was your second part?
Just when a game where points are at a premium, the free throw shooting, how much do you think that made a difference tonight or today?
Well, both teams got to the foul line. They made theirs and we missed. So,
Back.
Coach, back middle here.
yeah.
Tell us what went wrong down the stretch of the fourth quarters offensively.
Well, I probably should have substituted more of my perimeter players throughout the game, and I didn't. So that's on me. When we went to South Carolina and we've come to Texas, good ball games. We were in ball games, had opportunities to, you know, possibly steal a victory, and we just didn't get it done. And so you kind of evaluate, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, you have to execute and be extremely tough when it requires the toughness of you. We had how many inbounds plays that we got violations on? Well, if you're the point guard throwing it in your head, you got to know the 5-second count. Call a timeout. Execute a play when you leave a timeout and go do it. So I think that was probably the difference in the game is just the toughness and the ability to execute when it got to be crunch time. I thought the beginning of the third quarter, you know, they came right at us quickly to cut the lead, and it worked. And I had to use a timeout real quick.
Go in the back and then up here in the front.
Yeah, Coach, and just in the middle. How healthy was Flau'jae, and just what was she?
She's fine.
Through? And then the front court going up against Texas centers.
I thought everybody wanted to talk about Texas post dominating our post. Would you say they dominated today? Our post battled. Morrow battled. I thought Samaya Smith coming back home, she's from Texas. I thought she battled. She blocked shots. She doesn't have a lot of the bulk, but buddy, she battled in there.
Front right.
Yeah, Kim, y'all were able to hold Booker to 2 points in the first half, but then 14 in the second. What do you feel like was the difference there?
We didn't change anything. I don't know. Maybe she just got hot. Maybe I think Flau'jae was on her, and then Michaela was on her, and, you know, ballers figure out a way to score. It wasn't anything. She played 40 minutes, but there wasn't any 3 for 17. I think that's pretty dang good. But she ends up with a double-double, but I'll take that 3 for 17. Just take those 10 free throws away. I haven't studied this. I'm looking at it as we talk. Yeah.
In the back.
Yeah, Coach, more in general in the first half, back here. Texas had a pretty tough time offensively in the first half. What was working for you guys on defense?
They were missing shots, and I hope that some of our defense was the reason they were missing shots. You know, they were shooting very poorly in the first half, and I hope that that was because of our defense, but it probably wasn't all our defense. They just missed some shots, but it was a good game.
Front left over here.
Kim, the conference is tough, and these are some rough and tumble games going down the stretch. How does this prepare teams like yours and Texas's for what's coming in March Madness?
Well, I think if you see the SEC, wow, it's just a lot of tough teams, and I would think that we're probably all a little grateful when the SEC season is over, because you may think the NCAA playoffs is you can kind of breathe a little, but it's tough in this league.
Front right here. Microphone right behind you.
Hi, Kim. I was curious if you'd discuss your daring Rory to throw, to shoot, and backing off her so much, and what you thought of their 4-guard lineup.
Well, now you're asking me to coach his team, and I don't think that's fair. What's my background? Give me them 2 big posts. He never plays them together. Give me those 2 big post players. They're studs in there. Sometimes you have to go to a 4-guard lineup when you don't have those bigs. He's got those bigs. I never see them play together, but it works. Look how good they are. Well, I don't know if it's by design. I don't want to sit here and tell you we left her open for a reason. She's a great player. She's a great player. I think she just hit a big shot at the foul line jumper. This is Division I at the elite level, and if you leave people open at the foul line, they're going to make it. And I thought that was a big bucket.
All right, once again, Lady Tigers are hosting the Lady Dogs from Georgia Thursday night at 8 o'clock in the PMAC, and then they will travel to Kentucky for another Sunday big game on the road at Kentucky. And Kentucky is very good. They've got a couple of post players, and we'll see. But got to eliminate the turnovers, got to get more consistent play from the point guard. And, of course, got to stay out of foul trouble and make those foul shots. But once again, as long as LSU gets the seeding from the NCAA, they'll host a couple games in the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. They win those, and they will go right into the Sweet 16. Still plenty of work to do. We'll see if they're going to have a chance to win the conference, but that loss at Texas hurt those hopes a little bit on Sunday. Quick timeout. We wrap it up with Matt McMahon. Give you a little bit, about 3 minutes of him when we come back to wrap it up on another edition of Tigers Roar right here on Pelican Sports TV.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
Anchored by the performance and reliability of the Civic and Accord, Honda has once again been named the best car brand for the 4th year running by U.S. News and World Report. Come see the lineup of award-winning Hondas at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreysstoneCountryClub.com.
And wrapping it up, we gave you a little bit of everything. NFL Super Bowl wrap-up, a little LSU football talk, LSU baseball talk, women's basketball, and we wrap it up with Matt McMahon. Tigers get their second victory of the SEC season, stealing one. Cam Carter, 7 points in the last minute to steal one at OU. And once again, JP, it has been tough sledding for the men. Everybody is kind of going with this report for the last week or two that McMahon's got one more year and they're going to put more money in NIL. LSU and South Carolina are 15 and 16 in basketball NIL. JP, let's wrap it up with letting you hear a little bit from Matt McMahon in year 3, LSU men's basketball coach, finally having something to gloat about.
All right, thanks, Kent. Man, just really proud of our players, their resiliency. Got hit with a lot of curveballs today, throughout the day, and I thought really just competed at a high level. Even when down 5 there late, could have broken and folded up shop. Stayed in the fight. Cam Carter gets the big 4-point play. Then we turn him over on the ensuing inbounds play, and really just wanted to keep. We didn't want to use our timeout. We wanted to get the ball to Cam and keep the floor spaced. And he makes a big-time drive to the bucket to finish. But big-time win for our guys. I mean, they've really been battling, and I'm really proud of them. You find out a lot about yourself when things aren't necessarily going your way and you're not getting the results you want. So really proud of our players' response today.
Coach, can you talk about just the decision to double after the 4-point play, the decision to double him that kind of led to the turnover in that sequence?
Yeah, it was really a unique situation. We finished, I think, the last 3 minutes of the game with 5 guards. We've never practiced with 5 guards. We've never played a possession of 5 guards. But we had a bunch of tough dudes out there that were really well connected. With 20 seconds left, we wanted to extend the game. We thought we had time to get one trap and see if we could turn them over, and then we were going to start fouling to extend the game. But I didn't have a clear vision. It was a great trap. I don't know if it was Curtis or Mike. Someone got a great deflection there. And then I thought the composure to immediately get the ball to Cam, space the floor properly with a lot of shooters out there, opened up the driving lane, and Cam made a big-time play.
Coach, you had your ups and downs with the free throws throughout the game, but to hit them when it really counted, what does that say about the resilience of your team?
Well, we hit some big ones, yeah. I'm not sure what's happened there with us. About 10 days ago, we were leading the SEC at 81% from the line, and we've been struggling here over the last 10 days. Probably a culmination of everything. But, again, when we needed to make them there down the stretch, guys stepped forward and hit some big ones for us.
Anything else?
All right, now we'll single out, Damian Collins, his toughness on display on the floor, gets 22 points. His shoulder went out of place in the second half, dislocated again. He sat out for a minute and came back in the game and helped us find a way to win. Jai Bailey was an absolute warrior out there. Cam Carter, obviously fantastic. And, I thought our 2 freshman guards, Victorious Miller and Curtis Givens, really grew up and, finally was really happy for Mike Williams to hit that big 3 late in the game. All right, thanks so much.
All right, Matt McMahon finishing the game against Oklahoma with 5 guards. Damian Collins fouls out and others foul out. Trey'Dez Green no longer playing hoops, going to concentrate on academics, and we'll start spring football in a couple of weeks. Once again, men tonight at 8 o'clock on the Tube hosting South Carolina. At 2 o'clock, LSU hosting Southern at the Box. And as always, appreciate you patronizing all of our great sponsors and tuning in to another edition of Tigers Roar. See you in a couple of weeks, everybody. Okay.